Hello, Facebook followers, LinkedIn followers. So happy to have you here with myself and Maria and Matt with DandH. This is a very exciting interview that we're going to be having, especially with everything that's been going on in the industry right now with all the cyber attacks. Kaseya, there is a ton going on. Things are opening up, events are happening, so we've got a lot to talk about. Maria, thank you so much for joining me again, and we have special guest, Matt Hubbell. You've never done this with us before, so this is super exciting to have you here. How are you
Thank
today?
you. I'm doing well. I'm a first timer. I'm looking forward to this. This is my first Facebook Live event, so I look forward to some great conversation here in the next little while.
We always have
Wonderful.
fun.
Yeah. Yep, we do.
Good.
Lots of laughing, lots of joking, but lots of serious talk here. So
Sure.
thank you again for being here. For those of the followers who are watching right now, that are not familiar with DandH, give me a little bit of breakdown of what DandH does for MSPs.
Sure, I'll take that one. So for those of you who don't know who DandH is, we're actually about 103 years old, an IT distributor that really didn't get too heavily focused into the cloud and the MSP space until about 2019. And ever since then, so that's when I joined the team, and Jason Bystrek, our leader, joined the team. And we focus on the SMB market and for the most part, MSPs on the cloud side. And really what our focus is taking hardware and wrapping cloud and services so that our partners can be more profitable. And I've been working with our team leading the charge with that.
That's really great, and it offers, but you offer a ton of convenience for MSPs too when it comes to obtaining that hardware, because with financial situations, it may be sometimes difficult. So from what I understand, you assist with that as well.
Yeah, so we do a couple of things. First of all, just on our traditional side, we've been pretty aggressive with our terms that we're offering some of our partners, and really just making it easy for them to extend lines of credit, and working a lot with them through all of the inventory shortages. But then as you just look at the market today and you look at what's really in demand and what the consumer is demanding, they're demanding more and more that they want to consume anything in an as-a-service model. So we've been heavily focused with our X as a service offering over the past couple of years. I know if you've watched our Facebook Live interviews in the past, or maybe caught us in a recent academy, we've been talking about monetizing the seed and working with partners so that they don't leave money on the table. Well, that hasn't changed. I'm going to keep talking about that. That's always going to be front and center, but it's evolving as the market's evolving. So if you happen to catch our last Academy pre-day session that we did, we launched our brand new X as a Service configuration and quoting tool. And I'm also going to give everybody a quick preview of that in a little while if you didn't see it, or review it if you did see it. But it's just a great tool for your sales team to use and to create a quote that includes everything. But also in the pre-Academy Day session, we gave a little bit of a snapshot into the various practice areas that we're focusing on, like our unified communications practice area, our Azure practice that we're helping partners with, our MSP practice. But for the purposes of today, we're going to focus on security with Matt, who happens to lead our security practice. So hopefully you guys will learn everything there is to know about how you can lean on DandH for security.
Yeah, it's very important right now, especially given what happened recently with Kaseya. So Matt, tell me, what are your thoughts on the recent cybersecurity attacks on the channel vendors?
Boy, I'd love to say that, it's something that is super unique and unprecedented, and will never happen again. But, I don't see it. It's unfortunate that the world we live in right now, it's not surprising that these types of attacks are occurring. As time goes on, the bad guys are getting smarter. They're becoming more bold and a bit more aggressive in what they're doing. And they've figured out that if they go after and go attack channel vendors, they've got the ability to access or gain access to potentially hundreds of thousands or even millions of endpoints with a single attack and a single breach. And for the threat actors that are out there today, they almost view this like a pot of gold. So I can't say that I'm surprised. I think for most vendors in the channel and a lot of technology companies in general, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how bad will it be. And Kaseya unfortunately is having their time in the spotlight right now. So the challenges in the attack certainly isn't the first we've seen. I'm certain it's not going to be the last, and it's just the one that's front and center in our minds right now. So
nobody likes to be in that position. Absolutely
no.
not.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
You want good press, not bad. Same thing with our MSPs, and their clients as well. So them being protected is really important to them. So
yeah,
nobody
absolutely.
likes that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me why DandH is placing such big bets on it right now.
Well, we absolutely, just touched on a little bit of it. The threat actors, the bad guys, as I like to call them, are they're getting more bold. And speaking of bold, my cat's getting more bold as well. So he's going to join our interview here for a minute.
She just told us what she thought of security.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we just saw it. The convergence of those increased threats, the number of companies out there who are bringing solutions to market to mitigate and protect and prevent those protect against and prevent those threats. Everything is just increasing exponentially right now. And what that does from a distribution perspective, or from DandH's point of view in this, we see opportunity in being able to go and really lock arms with the market, lock arms with our resellers, and just deliver the message, look, you don't have to be the expert. We take the time as part of our vetting process when we onboard and create a new relationship to make sure that the technology that we're bringing is best in class and it's really going to hit the objectives we set out to hit. So we're clear with our resellers and why we onboard particular vendors and for the purpose we do that. And it's good for the market because they don't have to worry about, hey, has the distributor really vetted this, or will they sign anyone who will come to them? The majority or the reality of the situation is I get approached on almost a daily basis with a different vendor, everyone from endpoint security to services and everything in between, wanting to come be a vendor at DandH. And I say no a whole heck of a lot more than I say yes. And the ones that we do bring on board, we make sure that they're there and they have the best interest of the channel at heart. So we're placing bets on it because we see opportunity to help really deliver extra value to our resellers and out to the market. So super long answer to a super short question, but
that's great. That's
the best I can do.
So how is DandH helping resellers launch the security practice?
That is no, sorry. Go ahead, Maria. Go ahead.
No, so I wanted, Matt, you'll talk about the security practice specifically, but really what's important to know, we take the same approach that we did when we launched our Azure practice, when we launched our UC practice, and we know how challenging it is for our partners to invest in launching a new practice. They have to invest in the people, they have to invest in bringing on new tools and learning those tools. So with every one of these new practices, we try to give our partners options. We give them the tools if they want. And from a security standpoint, Matt will talk about some of those tools, but we also, if they need the people, if they don't have the technical expertise to support those tools, maybe they're evolving there, they could lean on us. And we chatted about our professional services team a little bit during last Academy. And so that's what we're doing to help them as well. But also, more importantly, if you're looking at the overall business, it's the back end tools. How do I operationalize this? And that's oftentimes a whole other world to many of our partners, and it's a great undertaking. So those who've engaged with us maybe are familiar with our cloud platform, which is a tool that they can use to manage and provision their software subscriptions like M365 or Dropbox. Well, another thing, like I mentioned earlier, is our X as a Service configuration tool. And I thought it made sense just to give everybody a little sneak peek at this tool. And I'm not going to go through every single part of it, but I think it's worth showing. And then we could focus a little bit on the security part of the tool. So hopefully, if I give it a second, you guys let me know when you can see the screen now, right?
We can see
We
the screen
got it.
now, and I'm excited to watch it. So
Me
yeah.
too.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I've seen it before, but it's gonna be great.
It's
The
his
tool's
first time.
awesome. I didn't want to interrupt Maria's train of thought, but the tool's really great. Just the thought and just watching this thing kind of being born from the inside out has really been incredible, and to see it live now and in production is just awesome. So I'm looking forward to it as well. But Maria, please, back to you.
All right. Well, and so I don't want to forget to say, though, if you want access to this tool, just reach out to either Matt or myself, or on LinkedIn, where this is going to be, on Facebook, and we will just mention that you saw it during this session, and we'll give you credentials, and you can use the tool as well. But just to get you a little bit more curious, so this is the landing page that you'll see, and we're always going to have the any specials that we have with hardware, and this is a live feed that you get from our system, so it's always up to date. And I know today, and in the past year or so, we've heard many people struggling with inventory. This will tell you if a particular device or piece of hardware is in stock as well. But I'm going to go right up to Sell It or Sell IT. Go over to Computer Notebooks, and I'm just going to click on a notebook. That's the easiest one, and oftentimes the most popular. And what that's going to do is it's going to load up all of the notebooks available to you through DandH. So I'm just going to take this Lenovo notebook here, because we have a pretty strong partnership with Lenovo. They are actually working with us to have their own specific instance of this tool. So if you are an MSP that you sell a lot of Lenovo, please work with me and our team, and we'll be able to give you access to that too once it's ready. But you see what it does here then? It gives you all of the specs on that tool. Of course, it's not in stock, where it says in stock. No, I don't know how well you guys can all see this. Hopefully,
but I will say that that's extremely convenient to be able to see what's in stock and isn't in stock, because one of the most frustrating things is that if you're ready to order something and you're like super excited about it and you're going to get it done and you quoted it, and then you go in and you're like, oh gosh, it's not available. Now I got to go back to my client and I got to tell them it's not available, and it's just an awful conversation to have. So this is definitely taking a great proactive approach.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and we did it with that in mind. But this over here, the partner price, and this is what I want to point out. If you have special pricing with DandH, you can go and you can change that right in here. So it's always going, at the end, it's going to show you how much profit you're making. So it's always going to reflect your profit. But over here, from a quoting perspective, this is really the most important piece. It's the end user price. So we put MSRP in here. Everybody's market is different. Somebody in Arkansas is probably going to be charging something different than someone in Chicago or someone in LA. So this is something that you could change. Quantity, I'm going to plug 10 in here, but the other thing that I think is worth mentioning is our X as a Service program has really low minimums. And that's one of the challenges that we hear from many of our partners. They'll say, yeah, I go to some of the manufacturers and they have a program like this. And I'm not going to say we're the only one with this X as a Service program. Everyone is attempting to do this, but there are some minimum requirements with some of the other programs out there that make it difficult for many really SMB focused MSPs to offer it. So our minimums are very low. Again, work with our X as a Service team and they'll tell you what that is, but I think it's only like $1,000, a month for the whole entire engagement. So I'm going to put 10 in here. I'm going to click Save and Next. And then this is where I think all the magic happens. And I say that because I've noticed that the challenging part with offering bundled solutions or, a subscription that includes everything is really understanding what does that full solution involve? Like what's required? What is the market demanding that I put in my solution? Or say I already know that, but how do I price it? And what are the best in class services. So this kind of helps you and guides you through that. So you'll see you can white glove it, you can SaaS it, you see it, manage it, secure it, which we're going to focus on.
How
But
about that?
how about that? Yeah, security. We'll
Right.
let you have your turn. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can also monetize the seat utilizing the security option as well.
yeah, you can definitely do that, so you don't leave that money on the table either.
Right.
And it shows to your customer that you understand what they need. So we do have some professional services that you can leverage from us. White glove services for pre-shipment laser etching, which many of our partners do that, but sometimes they don't want to waste their time. They want to give it to us to do. Autopilot, you could come to us for that, or green shipping. So one thing that I wanted to show you down here, which is really cool in our tool, is you can add your own services. So I talked to many MSPs that say, hey, wait a minute, you're competing with me. If you're offering services, where's my value? Well, we don't compete with our MSP partners. We don't sell directly to end customers. They leverage our services to complement their current services. But if they want to offer them, then you can go in here and you can add what your cost is for your services. And I'm just going to put a random number in there, and then what you sell it to your customer. And again, I'm going to put another random number in there, and I'm going to again put a quantity of 10. So I'm going to save and next.
So I have a random question, and that's just because I'm watching your demo, and I have the question that came up. In regards to like my services, is that something that I can import and make it a template so that this way it's kind of there already? Or is that something that I would have to manually do every time?
So today you would have to manually do it, but we are working with certain partners who, and to be honest, their volume would justify us putting some extra development time in creating their own instance of this so that it could be fully customized for them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Good question. All right. So like I said, I'm not going to go through every one of these. We know that we can add the Office 365 subscriptions, and we can add the other SaaS solutions. We can migrate it. We have Cisco, Dropbox, HelloSign, Sign Now, all of those. You can reach out to me if you want to learn more about our portfolio. But I'm going to go right to secure IT, or secure it.
And what I love about this so far, Maria, and I hate to interrupt, but that, I mean, you're probably going through a quote and you're thinking to yourself, okay, they need this and they need this. But being able to see everything up front, it's almost like it's reminding you, what you may be forgetting to give them, and which is why, hence, monetizing the seat, right?
Yeah.
Because all of this is going to remind me, oh, wait, they're going to need that. No, they're going to need that too, right? So you want to be able to put it all in there up front so you don't leave it out later.
And that's exactly it. And I cannot tell you still how many partners DandH works with who come to us for the devices, maybe some of the white glove services. And then we ask them, well, what are you doing for the productivity applications, or the collaboration, or the security, or the backup? And they say, oh, I let my customers get that on their own. Well, they're getting that on their own from your competition. So that's putting you at risk. This just makes it so easy to include it all. And if you present it to the customer and they say, oh, no, I already have a relationship with Microsoft, I'm getting that on my own, fine, take it out of the quote. I mean, you can always go back and you edit it, but you always start out with that full solution, and then you could chip away at it if you need to.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to security. Let's check that one out.
Yes, let's talk about some of these vendor solutions in here, and we'll add the ones that we recommend.
Yeah, sure. So it's a little small on my screen. I have to help. I see Cisco in the top left there, and is that Eset to the right of it?
It certainly is. We have for endpoint security, we have Cisco Umbrella and Eset endpoint protection.
Awesome. So Cisco Umbrella, for those who may not be familiar with the solution, has been in the market for a number of years. It is a DNS-based protection solution that, just in very basic terms, will filter any content coming in and making sure that there's no requests coming to or coming from known malicious or known bad DNS addresses. So it's a way to protect endpoints and users from things like ransomware specifically. Rely on DNS for their function and operation.
Mm-hmm.
And if DNS can stop the address, then the ransomware can never execute and do what it does. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great layer in the solution stack to help make sure that users and endpoints are protected. And as we talk through this, just one other thing, it's probably worth noting here. A lot of what you'll see in the way the security solutions are being offered today and the foundational pieces we've built are really built with the endpoint and the user in mind, because again, going back to the lowest barrier to entry from a threat actor's perspective, it's easier to trick a human than to work around and bypass all the safeguards that good security focused IT administrators have put in place. So it's a lot harder to hack a Cisco firewall than it is to trick a user into giving you their credentials. So the threat actors have learned this over the years. So they absolutely do their best to infiltrate endpoints and manipulate and trick end users into giving up sensitive information so that they can launch an attack. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the areas and the focal points of the DandH security services and offerings today focus on making sure that we're protecting users and their computers from essentially themselves. So but with that, some of the Eset products that we have in there are traditional Eset endpoint protection with some of the newer offerings from Eset, like Eset Dynamic Threat Defense, which is a cloud sandboxing offering from Eset that provides traditional endpoint security combined with cloud sandboxing to make sure that unknown threats or unknown files and executables are tested in a sandbox environment before they're run on a live system, and some of the other things that go along with that. I believe Vade is next on the screen, if I'm not mistaken. Trying to figure out these logos. So Vade is one of our great Microsoft 365 secure or email security providers. Phenomenal technology, phenomenal AI, incredibly broad reach. Vade is protecting over 1 billion mailboxes around the world today across all major continents and regions. And we're just so fortunate to have Vade as part of our stack today. It integrates incredibly well and seamlessly with Microsoft 365, gives users a seamless experience with no third-party quarantine to go and manage whenever an email goes missing, and it's easy for administrators to administer because it integrates nicely with a lot of the built-in tools into Microsoft Exchange Online. So Vade's an awesome email security solution. Let's take a look down here. Who do we have next on our list?
We have Acronis, some backup and data
Yes.
protection.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. How could we forget about Acronis? So Acronis, obviously a well-known name in the security space, in the backup space, and in the channel in general. Company's been around for a long time, and as a historical backup company, we couldn't not include them. I'm a firm believer in the simple fact that the best defense is a good offense, and leveraging a good backup platform to protect your data from any threat actors out there is really the most foundational thing you can do before you worry about prevention and detection solutions. If you've got a good, clean, encrypted copy of a backup that's available, if in the event that your data is stolen, the business is not put at risk of being shut down due to not having access to it. There's obviously other threats in today's world, but it's just such a foundational piece, and obviously available in the X as a service tool. So
yes.
Very
So I'm going
convenient.
to do a save and next. And I'm not going to go through the other categories, but I will go right to review and submit. And just know that there are two different ways that you can offer this to your customers. You can offer it to them on a monthly subscription basis. Or if say you present that to them and then they say, no, I want to purchase the hardware outright, but obviously I want the subscriptions on a monthly basis. you can still work with us. It's still X as a service. It's still wrapping everything into one solution. It's just how it's paid for. So the payment model is a little different. And again, it goes to the flexibility of the DandH X as a service solution. We've revamped it a couple of times based on feedback from partners. And we said, you know what? We're going to lean on our financing partners to be even a little bit more flexible with what our offering is. So
and that certainly helps the MSP preventing the possibility of losing the deal because of that reason.
It does. And, you know, it's funny because prior to COVID, you know, we had our X as a service practice. We didn't have this tool, but we had our practice. And when I would talk to certain MSPs about this, they would say, you know, I'm offering it, I'm doing it. But then as, you know, the cash is king mentality emerged and people realized, you know what, I'm going to hold on to as much as cash as I can. But also, more importantly, the risk of the end user then falls on the MSP if they finance it. If they come through DandH, then our financing arm takes on that risk, and our partners get paid the profitability upfront for the engagement. So it really helps with cash flow acceleration and with mitigating risk.
That is extremely beneficial.
Yeah. So it takes you to kind of a summary, and over here it's showing the device that I chose, 10 of that Lenovo device, the extended price, and then the services that I added. And again, these are my own services if I am the MSP, but then it shows what my profit is just for that piece of the engagement. And then it shows the subscriptions, what the price is for that and what that profit is. And then it shows, like I mentioned before, the different options in selling this to your customer. You could do 24 months, 36 months, or 48. Yeah. The most common is 36, so the tool defaults you to that. But you can offer the equipment and services only to them. Or if you want a true X as a service where you're offering the full solution, you can have the equipment, services, and subscriptions all in one.
Wow. That's
awesome.
Extremely convenient. So Maria, let me ask you this. Are they able to export this quote into something else where they're ready to like show something pretty?
Funny you should ask that, Brandi. That was such a smart question. Yes. So I did. And now this is just showing
pretty it up.
All of the
pretty quote.
Now this is just like a demo that I'm doing. So you can do so much more. But if I go to edit this particular quote, I can put a company address here. My code, this would be mine. So I could have my logo and my address or whatever I want. This over here, I don't know how well you could see it, but there's going to be like a little pencil. I could put in my customer's information. There's a quote reference section. I could put in a PO number. And then if you scroll down, it's going to list all of the options that we indicated. But there's two options here. You could submit this order and it'll go right to our X as a service team. So again, flexibility, saving time, it's all there. And, and someone on our team will then, because it's not fully automated, obviously, the hardware needs to be ordered. It needs to be timed with the provisioning of the subscription. So it's not all like magic, but what's
the typical turnaround time for that, for something?
It all depends on the hardware. It really does. So however long it takes for the hardware to get ordered and, white glove, I mean, as far as the subscriptions, it's instantaneous. People go to our platform every day, they order subscriptions and they're provisioned within minutes. So unfortunately, it's that hardware. But I'm going to update this quote and then I'm going to show you how you can then convert it to a PDF. So again, I apologize if it's hard to see, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a saved button and then there's like 3 little dots and you could choose view PDF and it will then convert it to a PDF that I can, and it's coming. And here's the PDF.
Now it's pretty.
You can make
pretty
this
version
prettier,
yeah, I love it. That's really great. And
Oh,
again,
yes.
guys, like everything, everything you're seeing right now, even though it's small, you can reach out to Maria or Matt and to get a more in-depth personal demo. And also take note that we will be putting the pre-day course that they did back on the back academy, the last academy, on Core. So if you are a member of Core, you will absolutely have access to that. And that will be up soon. So, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
number of ways that you can get your hands on this goodness here.
Yes. Please reach out. We're here to help.
I love it. I love it. So, so let me ask you this. Now, are you going to be working with any new vendor partnerships anytime soon? Any foreseeing?
That sounds like a question for me, right? As I mentioned before, I get inbound requests almost constantly. There are some larger, what I'll call household names that we're currently in conversations with, and I'm comfortable saying that we'll likely have some big new names joining the DandH family in the next couple of months. Let's say by the time we're out trick or treating with our kids or for ourselves, depending on your preference on Halloween. We should have a couple, and in true fashion to where we've been thus far, I anticipate they'll probably be closer to the backup and endpoint security space than some of the other areas. I think there's a little bit more work we have to do to really offer a complete set of best in class vendors in those couple of areas. So yeah, always someone on the horizon. We're closer to the beginning than we are to the end with building out the foundation and the practice and the vendors that'll be integral to our success. So more to come.
Very
Stay
good.
tuned.
And I know we talked a lot about what DandH's role is with cybersecurity, but I mean, with your view on the need for cybersecurity, let's get a little bit more in depth with that. Obviously, you offer it and you're able to monetize it. I mean, what is that exactly?
Yeah, no, that's another interesting question. And I touched on a couple specific pieces of why we think this is so important. A couple of the big ones being, as I mentioned, the threat landscape today is just changing so much. If you rewind the clock 5, 10 years, heck, even a year or two, threats weren't being delivered, attacks weren't being carried out the same way as they are today. So as technology has evolved, so too have the attackers and the tools that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really getting to a point now where it's no longer a nice to have, it's a must have. And the reality is, as a small business owner, as a reseller, as a channel vendor, there's not a question anymore of whether or not you're going to be the target of an attack. It's a question of when, and not so much if. And when occurs, is it going to be a targeted attack where someone really wants to cause you harm personally or your business harm, or are you going to be just susceptible to a broader attack of people looking to gain information? So it's really truer today than ever that everyone is a target. Everyone out there is a target today,
Mm-hmm.
and we just need to be vigilant in protecting ourselves. So that combined with vendors bringing new solutions to market, it's just like this constant game of ladders going up. It's new solutions, better attacks, better solutions, still better attacks. And we're just in a phase now where we don't envision a world at any point in the future without it.
I foresee them starting to need cybersecurity protection on cars at the rate we're going.
Yep, we are headed there.
I mean, you have cars getting to Wi-Fi. You got your phone plugged in there. You got your laptops plugged into that Wi-Fi, and it's just, they're going to start going towards that route.
Your refrigerators.
Yeah, refrigerators got hacked a couple of years ago. I remember
Oh,
that.
I know. Gosh.
It's only so long. I know there's been reports in the news it's died off a little bit, but some of the big electric car manufacturers out there, they are so dependent upon communication and connectivity to the internet for everything about how the car runs, how it functions, diagnostics, brakes, accelerating, everything about the car is connected and online. So the day will come where a lot of those threats become real, and there will be victims for it. So.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me today and showing me this demo, and everyone else that's watching. I found it very, very informative and useful, and I hope everybody else did too. And again, if you want to have a more in-depth training session, please reach out to Maria or Matt about that. They can get one scheduled with you very, very quickly, and then also log into Core and go and check out their course that we're going to be loading in soon. Another way that you can go and meet them in person and meet myself in person and everyone here at CharTec is come to our Academy August 18th, 19th, and 20th. We will be on site. If you think Bakersfield has nothing to offer, just wait till you get here. There's a lot to offer. So we'll be having in-depth trainings. We're going to have executive roundtables. Our training sessions are going to be more in depth rather than high level like we've had virtually. So you will be walking away with tangible items to execute when you get home, and then we're going to have lots of entertainment. So
awesome.
We know how to do that, as you all know. So so excited to have you. So excited to have people here again, and get to see everybody in person again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, for letting me letting this be my inaugural interview. I appreciated being here and sharing some more about DandH security with you. So thank you so much. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in here today and taking part of this. And we look forward to hearing any questions or hearing from you soon to help you get started.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned questions. So continue to ask questions. The video is going to stay up long after this. So tag us if you have a question long after it's live, and we'll jump on and answer.
Yes, and reach out to me if you want credentials to the tool as well. All you have to do is send me a note either on LinkedIn or Facebook, or reach out to me at DandH, mmoran@dandh.com.
Perfect, and we'll be putting that in the comments shortly. All right,
Great.
you two, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great seeing you again, and I look forward to seeing you in person in August.
Thanks, Brandi. Thanks, Maria.
Have a great day,
We'll talk to you all
everybody.
soon. Take care.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.